What's up, folks? Sean the Average Angler. We are back at it today. A little bit of a rough week. Didn't get much videos out. I had a client event Wednesday night, had me out late, left me tired, and then I had to go make a run up north to help my mom with some things. And yeah, so I've just been busy the last 5 days. But we're back. We are just in time from the looks of the weather here in Northern California to go over some things that I think we're gonna all start running into here pretty soon. And every lake's timing will be a little bit different, depending on whether it's shallow, deep, windy, these kinds of things. But we got some weather changes coming this week, and we're going to start to see, I believe we're going to start to see the turnover start to happen. If you're getting out often and you're on fish and those fish disappear, the balls of bait seem like they're all dispersed, the water's a little cloudier, then you may be experiencing the turnover. The turnover is when that upper layer of water gets more dense and it sinks, and then it flops. Now, what happens when that takes place is you have a lot of plankton and stuff spreads out throughout the whole water column, so it's everywhere. So your balls of bait spread out. There's now oxygen, so everything can disperse. This time makes it very tough to pinpoint fish. I said tough, I didn't say impossible. When this happens, if you find yourself on the water and you were catching them out on ledges, on wood, out offshore, that kind of thing, you can go check it, but this is what I'm going to say. If your fish aren't there, you were scoping on balls of bait, that kind of thing, they're probably gone. And really the best thing you can do at this point in time, head to another lake. But we're already at the lake. We found this out. So what do? We're going to fish shallow. We're going to cover water. And we will do that with reaction baits. Okay? The only time I'm going to slow down when this is going on is if I find a group of fish by throwing reaction baits. Then I might throw a drop shot in there, throw a jig in there, that kind of thing. But for the most part, I am going to be doing things to cover water and fishing shallow. This is the time when I will break out that smaller square bill, 1.5. If you're in the 6 cents, it's called the Crush 50. We're gonna be fishing up to maybe 6 foot, 8 foot, depending, but pretty much we're gonna be staying shallow. We wanna hit the bank out, okay? Another way we can do that effectively is with a top water. I'm also downsizing just a little bit. This is the 110 instead of the 125. That's another way we can go. We can go with some sort of wake style bait. This is called a hybrid swim crank. It dives to about 1 foot, so really going to depend on how you fish it. If I can get the box open, I will show you what it is, but this is one of those interesting baits from 6 cents that will have a very short window of time where it can be very effective. Turnover is that time. The other things we're going to throw, maybe some chatter baits, maybe spinner baits if we have some wind, but again, we're going to fish shallow, we're going to cover water, because with the plankton throughout the water, it really spreads things out, and the fish won't necessarily have a reason to hold on things. Now, how long is this going to go on? The other thing you can use is a rip bait. Yes, I still haven't got hooks put on this, like I said, been busy. Glide baits can be good at this time. This would be a time to use high float or floaters. Okay, this is one I painted. Pretty good looking little bait. Not bad, huh? Yeah. The nice thing is when you're painting them for yourself, they don't have to be perfect. Anyway. All right, so how long will this last? It can depend. Not the answer you wanted. On a place like Clear Lake in the upper end of the lake, it can last a day or two, especially if you got some wind helping churn that water up. You get into deeper canyon lakes, it can take a little longer, maybe a few days to a week. Most of the time, and most of the bodies of water we have in Northern California, it's going to be less than a week. So if you go out and experience it this weekend, the next weekend things are probably good, settled back down. The lake's settled, the balls of bait are back to schooling up again, the fish are back to eating bait, so forth and so on. It can be a very tough time to catch them, but if you know what to do and you notice it, it's pretty easy, pretty easy to pick up on it. The other thing, a swim jig is really good for this situation. Oh, I don't have one right there. But a swim jig is really good in this situation. Again, I'm going to go compact. The swim bait I'm going to use is going to be not too big. I want to keep it down just to appeal to more fish because they do get a little tougher to catch. Places like the California Delta, river situations, tidal bodies of water, generally shallower. We don't really have much of a turnover, a little bit less effective, but you still have changing temperatures. And if we get those nights that's really, really cold and the days aren't warming up much after we've had the cool nights, warm days, it could shut them down for a couple of days. That's a really good time to just kind of lock a rip bait in your hand and go out and rip. The rip bait always tends to get bit. So we will be doing our November baits here in the next day or two, probably tomorrow, but I wanted to get something out because we're going to experience this first. Hopefully it happens on a Monday, and then by the time we get to the next weekend and get out and fish, things are settled down. But that's not really realistic. That's not my kind of luck, if you know what I mean. So just be prepared for it. It's pretty easy to see on your graphs. You'll start to see a lot of particles throughout the water column, all over the place. Occasionally, places like Berryessa, I'll see the clumps. It looks like bottom floated up. That's kind of a telltale sign too that maybe the turnover's going on. It's not impossible to catch fish, folks. And if you locate groups of fish, so you're getting bit quite a bit in an area, well, then that may be a time if you want to slow down and throw a drop shot or throw a jig. I throw it right up on the bank and then work it back in, okay? This time of year, I just want to throw it onto the bank and then bring it back in. If you can, there's places where you can't throw it on the bank, I get it, but just give that a try. You know, something compact like the little jig I showed you before. Good to go. Don't have to overthink it. The underspin, but in this case where I'm going shallow, probably going to throw a 3.3 to 3.8 on a flashy swimmer. Just because I'm staying in the shallower water. The open hook, generally I like to use that for when I'm fishing a little deeper. I just happen to have it laying here, okay? All right, thanks for watching. Sean the Average Angler. If you like content like this, like, subscribe down below. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. I really appreciate it. And then you can set up for notifications on upcoming videos. November baits is going to be a good one, but I wanted to get the turnover in there because I just feel like it's coming in the next week or two. So I just want to get everyone prepped for that so you can have a successful day on the water. Thanks for watching.